Hello everyone, Rosetta Bhagwandin, Global English Language Educator and Writer. Thank you for joining, and today I'm going to share with you one quick method of teaching critical thinking through English. So what is critical thinking? As humans, we think, right? Our basic sense of doing things, such as waking up in the morning, having our breakfast, cooking our lunch, heading to work, etc. That's thinking. That's normal humanistic thinking. Hence, as humans, we have other types of thinking that is more defined in our attributes as human. And so, in this regard, I'm going to show you one type of thinking, which is critical thinking. Again, critical means, to an extent of sharing and to analyzing and to differentiating data, all right, or analyzing data, factual data. So whenever we are teaching English language, we need to specify to our students, especially if we want a format, a presentation, or a project to have critical thinking inside of it. And so, as you can see on my screen, I've added that critical thinking is a manner of thinking that employs curiosity, creativity, skepticism, analysis, and logic, whereby from that we should be able to differentiate curiosity, creativity, skepticism, and to analyze our data in a logical and factual manner. One key note as teachers that we should always keep in mind whenever we are using critical thinking in our English teaching is that having our 5 W's, as you can see here, who, what, where, why, and when. And at the bottom, there is how. The one how that starts with H ties all the rest of options, or should I say formats, which are who, what, where, when, why, all of that, how ties it up. And so it becomes one. All right. So it's a presentation based on all W's, all 5 W's tied, making it one how. Sounds funny, right? But that's critical thinking. So I wanted to give a twist in my presentation. I wanted to add design thinking, which is another type of thinking, and critical thinking into my presentation here. So I am going to use a hands-on project, all right? Because sometimes you want to take um, that classroom teaching and learning away and have your students as well as yourself as a teacher a breath of fresh air. So sometimes the change of environment gives us a bright whole new outlook. All right, so what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to create a project, and that project, it's making a coconut brew from the coconut tree, the branches of the coconut tree. So, and with that, I want to add critical thinking, which basically will be the information and the instructions of how I went about making that the coconut brew, and the uses for it. And I add design thinking, which is of a more uh, lower format of thinking. It's a thinking that basically designs the project. So in my case, it designs the broom, all right? How I want it, the length of it, how many pointers I want in it, what I'm going to tie the broom with, and so forth. So it's just to add a touch of radiance to the presentation of making the broom, the project, which is the broom. All right. So as you can see here, the design process, and you can see at the bottom, this is me harvesting the coconut branches, and this is the end product of what the broom looks like. So we have step one, step two, step three, step four, five, and six. This is the finishing product. As you can see here, I have the broom and I'm sweeping the concrete. So, teachers, whenever we are teaching English language, especially in the way of having or wanting a project to be done or a scenario of a written presentation, always include critical thinking because critical thinking is the essence and the entirety of what the project is about. It shows the data, the analysis of the data, the steps of how that project or that presentation was done. And if you want to add a touch to it to beautify that project, you add design thinking. There's so many other thinkings, but um, in my case, I'm going to add critical thinking. And I think that anytime we teach, despite of the subject areas or any decisions that we make daily as human beings, we need to have some sort of critical thinking. All right. In making our daily decisions. So teachers and everyone, thank you for viewing and listening. And as always, I'm Rosetta Bhagwandin, Global English Language Educator, Writer, and Open Global Coordinator for Open Central Asia, representing South America, which I'm from, and the country Guyana. So I do hope that I've shared a quick method and a tip on how to teach critical thinking through English language. Have a good one. Thank you, everyone.